Chapter 1. Edward's POV. My imaginations are really going too far when her naked body appears in my screen. It's just too lame for touching myself while watching her, but it's the least I could do from now. But when I look into my screen, she's nowhere to be seen in every cameras all over her house that I switched from different cameras, but I couldn't find her. Yes, I know I'm what can be called creepy because I've put cameras all over her house hidden, which I did one day when she was not in her house and she's at her job. But I just did that to monitor her every moves and everybody who would come to her house. I just want to make sure that she's always safe, and besides, I'm already doing this for 5 years. Which of course she didn't know that someone makes sure she'll always be safe and protected. Yeah, 5 fucking years, but I still didn't make a move to introduce myself. I watched the footage and saw that she dressed casually like going to a store. And lock her house before she goes off. Fuck. Why didn't I know? I'm doing pleasurable things all by myself, which makes me irresponsible. I instantly panicked, so I pick my phone and dial Johnson's number. Johnson, follow her and never let her out of your sight. I'm coming over, just text me the details where she is. I ended the phone call immediately so I can see her personally. I just want to make sure she's fine, even though I have someone who monitors on her. Johnson's my private investigator who keeps track of Charlotte 3 years from now. He gets photos of her but not in her house, just when she's outside, and he tells every single detail he would know. I got out of my office and walked towards my private elevator. I pushed the button to the ground floor. I just have to see her and not meet her, I reminded myself. When I walk out the elevator, every single woman stopped and looked at me. My hands are on my pockets. Hair quietly disheveled and an intimidating look on my face that girls find more attractive than scary. Yeah. I'm used to it, girls drool over me because of my hot appearance, but I don't give a damn about it. All I want is Charlotte, the only person I can't get. And I just hate the fact desperate girls do stupid things just to catch my attention, like tripping over nothing thinking that I would catch them and fall into my arms, or falling the papers purposely in front of me, but it's like I'm gonna help them. I'm already outside walking towards my Maserati Ghibli, opening it and driving off. My phone made a sound and I look at the phone, seeing I've received a text from Johnson's. She's at the 7-Eleven store a couple of blocks away from her house, sir. Johnson. 9:38 a.m. I'm on my way. I'm so anxious. She still hasn't got out of the store and haven't seen even a glimpse of her. I have to make sure that she's okay and nothing wrong happened to her. 10 minutes later. I couldn't take it anymore, I have to see her. Johnson already confirmed me that she's still there and I'm getting more worried. I got out of my car looking normal, even though I got everyone's attention looking by because of my suit and car is out of place. I just ignored the curious and prying eyes of people and looked around to see Johnson's familiar car out from a corner. I've entered the store and by the looks of everyone they're curious. Well, I don't give a fuck, I just want my Charlotte. Yes, she's mine and only mine. I was about to begin searching when suddenly someone bumps me, and when I say fuck, it's totally fuck. Some girl bumped me looking down, not noticing me, and the coffee she was holding flew to the air and directly landed on my suit. It's so fuck. It was stained and the smell of the coffee is making me disgusted. Fuck, I mutter calmly while trying to pat it dry with my hand, and I knew the girl heard it. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to, I'm REA-. I didn't let her finish putting my hands up, indicating her to shut up. I looked up and met the most beautiful brown eyes I've seen and the most luscious lips I will never forget. It's her, Charlotte. She looks breathtaking and there's the worry in her eyes, but by the looks on her face she looked pissed. All I want to do to her right now is kiss her and do all the erotic imaginations I've been dreaming with her, but I need to control myself so I wouldn't scare her off. I'm really sorry, let me dry that, she said and pulled out a scented handkerchief, wiping the stain away, but it just made it worse, the stain scattered all over the area. I just chuckle at the thought because she's nervous in front of me. I never thought that I was gonna be like this when I'm in front of her, delightful and a little nervous. I know it may sound gay, but I like the feeling of butterflies in my stomach, they're having party like crazy. It's fine, I assure her. She didn't reply, instead continuing to pat it dry. We can get over this if you help me change, I said normally, and I could see the shock in her face. Maybe she's thinking about helping me undress and dress. That's going to happen soon, but not now though. What I mean is if you could help me to find a store where I could buy something I could change into, clearing what she thought with a smirk. She's already thinking about me topless or maybe naked. Sure, of course, why not? Everything's my fault, so maybe that's how I could repay you, she sighed. I stared at her, looking if she really mean it. For all I know is that I'm a stranger and she's not afraid that I could do anything to her. Maybe she's really sincere on repaying me. I'm gonna take advantage of that repayment. Please take a momentary pause and like this video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Let's continue the journey together. Chapter 2. Charlotte's POV. I just came out from my house, locking the door. It's good to feel the fresh breeze of the wind, the sunlight on your face. I've missed everything. The kids playing around from their yard, some are watering their plants, some are outside reading newspaper while drinking their coffee. It feels like a lively livelihood full of energy and colors. Inside my house is horrible. It's not that it's a little bit itsy messy, but it's like you are far from the real world, always in the dark and not interacting to people for some time. It kills me. And there's something creepy about it. It's like there's someone who watches your every move. Someone that you can never hide anywhere in that house, like there's a ghost in there or something. But now what I need to do is buy myself a coffee. I need something which will make me awake and not too sloppy. By that I started to walk, watching people doing their things and some smiling at me, those whom I've talked to before. I decided to go to the 7-Eleven store which I could get myself a coffee. After a short walk I was in front of the store. I opened the door and was greeted by the familiar scent. There's not too much people in here, just exact to have peace. Some are at the big glass sitting doing their business, some are in a corner from a distance, and a couple flirting while getting their snacks. I walked on some of the aisles looking for a good snack, but I didn't see one and continued so I could find the section of the coffee maker. Once I was near the coffee maker, I already noticed that the guy on the counter kept glancing at my but being oblivious or just too pervert to look away, but I just shrugged it off. After making my own coffee I walked towards the paying section, but the guy on the counter is not here. When I looked behind me I saw the guy smirking and giving me a malicious look, looking at my breast. What a pervert, I thought. I backed away a little, being too dangerously close to the guy, but he even moved further. Well, the guy's not that bad looking. In fact, his gorgeous tan, tall, with a muscular build, gray eyes, jet black hair and a strong jawline. He reminds me of James Radcliffe. I'm paying for the coffee, I said casually. You don't have to pay it if you would do me a favor, the guy said seductively, but it disgusted me. No thanks, I rather choose to pay, I said, looking at him disgusted. But he just smirked and I just give him $10 bill, shoving it to his chest. Keep the change is what I want to say, but didn't anyways. And before I could get away someone slapped my butt, and when I look it's just the same guy who looks at me maliciously with a smirk. I walked towards him but he just still smirked and I slap him with all my force. I immediately walked away looking down, so pissed, not caring about the things around me, until I bumped into something hard like a wall, and before I knew it my coffee slipped off my hands and flew to the air, landing on something higher than me. Fuck, a manly voice muttered lowly. I was shocked that I didn't know what to say and I started saying, "I apologize. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to, I'm REA dash." He didn't let me finish, raising his hand to indicate me to. He's still looking at the damage I've done in his suit, so I can't see his face. He slowly looked at me and there's something in his eyes that tells something like shocked, longing, happiness and love. I don't know, but that's what I could see in his eyes. He's so gorgeous in his light blue suit. Gray eyes, chiseled jaw, pointed nose and a luscious lips, a great face. I then feel his heat emanating all over my body, which is something that I liked, and then my brain started to function again about what I just did to him. I'm really sorry, let me dry that, I said, pulling a handkerchief trying to remove the stain from his suit, but I think I just made it worse. So I just patted, staying calm in front of this Adonis. Even I could feel so many emotions inside that I shouldn't feel to this stranger, but I know that he can sense my nervousness. But what in the earth is a man with a suit looking like going to a business would be in here? Like he really looks so perfectly out of place. It's fine, he told me, quietly amused. But I just continued. We can get over this if you help me change, he said casually, leaving me shocked. Did he know what he just said, or did he seriously mean that? I already know the answer that I'm going to say, and it's a big no. But my conscience said that I should after what I did to his expensive suit, but I don't want to undress him. Gosh, he's a stranger for all I know. Like he just read what's on my mind, he spoke. What I mean is, if you could help me to find a store where I could buy something I could change into, phew. I really thought that he meant to assist him undressing. I sighed, relieved. Sure, of course, why not? Everything's my fault, so maybe that's how I could repay you, I said, smiling at him. By the look on his face, he seems to be not trusting me. Like, seriously, I might kill you when no one's around, look. But after that he just smirked. We're at his car going to somewhere that I don't know where he wants to. But he said that it's where we're going to find him he would change into. I look sideways to look at him, and he seems to be happy about something. Well, it's because he's still wearing the smirk to his face when we were at the store. It's like he sensed that I was looking at him. He looked at me and smiling perfectly, showing his perfect white teeth. What's on your mind, honey? Nothing, I replied, looking away from him, and I know right now I'm blushing on his endearment. And I know that he smirked because of that. We arrived at the store, and I know that it's something classy and surely expensive. We entered the store and was greeted by a very exquisite smell. I guess it's the smell of those clothes. What do you say? He asked, using his to drool for smile. Isn't that illegal? Well, I like the outside, it looks really elegant, the inside it's perfect, the greetings of exquisite smell, classy, well organized, but it looks too expensive, I said hesitantly, and then I look at him. He looks thinking really hard, putting his thumb and index finger under his chin. Is that so? He seems serious. He suddenly grabs my hand and leads me to the counter. A blonde girl looking at him flirtily and giving him a malicious smile. Do you need anything, sir? She sounds so squeaky, and I know that she's really trying so hard to sound seductive. I need all the fine button-up shirts you could find here, and be quick, I'm waiting over the waiting area, he said, sternly, not paying the same attitude. He grabbed my hand again and felt a tingling of electricity surge to me. He let me sit to the sofa beside him. He's still holding my hand, and I feel some rush inside me. I feel nervous, anxious, and slightly happy that he's this close to me, but I don't know why. After a little while, the same blonde girl arrived, pushing 2 racks of button-up shirts with different designs and colors. Here are all our fine clothes that you asked me, sir. Here she goes again, but he still doesn't even care about the girl. Leave us here alone, we'll call someone if we need help, he said, looking at the racks of clothes, not bothering to look at the girl. Are you sure, sir? She said, glaring at me, but tries to sound sweet. Just leave, he said, trying so hard to be calm, but I know he's fuming inside. The blonde girl left, batting her eyelashes to him, and gave me her deathly glare before leaving us. What do you want? He asked me, still looking and shoving clothes to clothes. You know that I couldn't afford one. I'm not gonna let you pay, I'm just gonna let you choose. But I'm the one who dash. He didn't let me finish again. Just do what I say, he said angrily. The way he speaks when angry is so intimidating, and I know that he wouldn't left any space for an argument, so it would be best to follow him. Okay, I said, feeling uncomfortable. After arguments, I finally gave up and just chose a white button-up shirt that's just so plain except for the pocket on the upper right side of it. The same blonde girl packed the shirt, looking disgusted, barely holding it. Are you sure about this, sir? She said, waiting for an approval. Just pack it away, he said angrily. Yes, sir, she said, still flirting him. Cheap, she hissed under her breath. But before I could say anything to her, she walked away. Huh, I huffed open-mouthed. Unbelievable. It would be more good if she told me face to face so I can give the word back. But if I don't control myself any longer, I would do things I would regret. Calm down. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Breath in, breath out. And smile. I smile out wide, looking into nothing. When I noticed him looking at me, raising an eyebrow, I just smiled at him, but he keeps staring at me with amusement all over his face. The lady came back and give the bag to him while she just glare at me. We're going somewhere, he said with finality. But where are we going? I thought that's the only thing I need to do for repayment. Charlotte still doesn't know Edward's name, so don't be confused if she's just addressing Edward. him or he. Please take a momentary pause and like this video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Let's continue the journey together. Chapter 3. Edward's POV. She's acting so weird when we're at the store. I always watch her but acts as if I don't really care. Still, she doesn't seem to be affected by that, especially when that sales lady started to flirt with me. But I feel disgusted about how the sales lady acts in front of me, batting her fake eyelashes and speaks seductively. And what I really hate is that she used to give glares at my love. She just doesn't even know that I own the place. That's why she purposely flirts me. She's the only one who gives me malicious acts. She's the exception to everyone that everyone knows I can fire them at just a snap of my fingers if I want to, so they don't do anything stupid specially to me, so I bet she's new. The only reason she still got the job is just to test if Charlotte would feel jealous and if to know if I've got a chance to her heart, but that proves me wrong. But that doesn't mean I should give up, and I understand that she still doesn't feel it because we just met. And now I'm thinking of taking advantage for her kindness. We're driving to my house and she's sitting right beside me where I can smell the sweet perfume of strawberry and vanilla. That just reminds me of erotic images of her in bed while I had sex with her senselessly. But with that thought I just can't help myself to get hard. Then I fidgeted to my seat uncomfortably just so she wouldn't notice my bulging dick in my pants. I just wish that she doesn't notice now that she's looking at me. I stopped my car in front of a building. "Are you all right?" she asked worriedly. She was about to touch my hand from the steering wheel, but before she could I remove my hands. I know she might think that I'm disgusted or what, but I know I couldn't control myself anymore and I would take her here inside the car. "I'm sorry," she said, backing away from me, sadness coating her beautiful brown eyes. "No, I'm the one who should say sorry," I said sincerely, knowing that I make her feel so meaningless to me while I look at her, positioning my face at the side. I look into her and saw that she seemed delighted about what I told her. And I guess she wants me to continue. It's just that, I didn't continue my lack of words to find when she suddenly leaned forward and our face is just centimeter away. "I understand," she said with a heartwarming smile. And then came the unexpected. She put her hands on my forehead, doing the same to her. It lasted for seconds and she pulled away. That's when I feel emptiness, but her warmth is still lingering forehead. Then I came back to my right mind that we're already at the building and adjusted my composture. "Well, your body temperature's fine," she said. So that's what she did, checking if I have a cold. I chuckled internally. "Come on," I said, and she just nodded. I got out of the car and go to my side and open her door. She whispered a thank you. I lead the way from the elevator. Everyone who saw me greeted me, but I just nod in response. We enter the elevator silently. I looked at her from the glass door of the elevator and she's looking at the ground. "Hey, what's the problem?" I asked, putting my hands on her shoulder. She looked at me and sighed. "Anything bothering you?" "Actually, yes, there is. You know, when we entered in this hotel, you're being very cold and intimidating. It just," she looked into my eyes with worry, "scares me." She's scared of me. "And why is that?" I asked, leaning at the elevator and giving her some space so I won't scare her more. "It's something from my past," she stated. I didn't said anything. I know what from her past she's talking about, so I'm not gonna push her. Flashback. The sound of a struggling voice came out from a secluded corner of the school. "Are you still going to fight Edward? Huh," he said with every single kick in each word. Alfred, the leader of the group. "They keep kicking me." It didn't matter if all the blood from my nose, mouth, and forehead came out splattered to the ground. My thick reading glasses is scattered 2 pieces lying next to my eyes. Until I heard a gasp from someone, but I hardly doubt that someone would get in this place, and very impossible that it came from one of the group members. "Carlos, stop that," a beautiful angel voice came from the walls separating her and them. I tried to look at her face from the bruises on my eyes and position. But I can tell that she's someone I've already saw. "What are doing here, Charlotte?" Alfred asked angrily. "I'm here to clear up things with you," she said, giving back the same tone. Alfred slowly walked to her and pushed her to the wall while everyone is watching, including me. Charlotte slightly backed away and whimpered softly from the impact she received. But instead of her running, she took a step forward to Alfred. "You couldn't do this to him, Alfred. He didn't do anything to you. Just let him go." And I know that with the last 4 words she looked at me with sympathy. And what happened next is Alfred slapped her on the face, making her fell to the ground. And that's all I need to have the strength to get up. What I did next is punch everyone with all my force, and after I finished punching the 3 of them I walked to Alfred, but I see he didn't even flinch. Acting as a hero now, heck dash. Before he could finish my name I punched him directly in his face and he fell to the ground, blood dripping to his nose. I punched him more and knocked him cold. After I finished looking contented on what I see, I looked at my side and saw the beautiful girl who is the very first to protect and fight to. "Are you all right?" I asked, seeing the hand mark on her face, trying to console her. "I'm scared." I hugged her after the word left her mouth and put my chin above her head. "You're brave. Too brave," I told her loudly so she can hear clearly. End of flashback. And that's how I fall in love to Charlotte. We also used to hang out for a year, but after that I disappeared without leaving anything because of the billionaire who adopted me. And I think that's why she doesn't remember me, even though I just became physically more different from when we were friends. And it hurts me after 7 years I just can't leave her, but now I wouldn't want to slip the chance. After the moment I comfort her, we walked out the elevator and then we walked to my door. I just have to stay carefree so I won't scare her. I pressed the passcode and we entered. "Why are we here anyway?" she asked, looking amazed at my penthouse. "I thought you said about something like you would make it up to me," I said with a smirk, and realized that she's back. She's not afraid anymore, she's happy. "Yes, I did, but why are we here?" she insisted, and I found it funny because she's just a little impatient kitten. I walked towards her, sitting next to her on the big sofa. "How about you do me a favor in bed?" I asked seductively, leaning and whispering it to her ear. What? "Maybe we could find some other way," she said, backing uncomfortably from me. "Well, she's a little nervous one." "Well, that's what I already planned for. It's great, don't you think?" I said, leaning more forward on her. When she was at the edge of the sofa, I was on top of her, towering her, and before I could lean for a kiss, something crashed from the floor, echoing through the whole room. And as I looked, I saw my vase was shattered into pieces. It's just an old antique vase, so it was fine, but it costs $2 million. But still, I can't be mad at her because of that. Money's not a problem to me. I'm a billionaire, for goodness' sake, and everything in this house is mine and Charlotte's. Well, that's not a problem, it just costs $2 million. So, where were we? I asked, smirking because of her shocked expression. She pushed me and I'm the one who got shocked. "You mean that?" she said, pointed to the broken vase. "Costs $2 million, she asked, surprised, shocked, and guilt. "Well, let's see, guilt. I think that's also the reason why she's here, and all I want is her to be mine. And the idea of taking advantage to her is now going to be settled." "Well, yes, and I doubt that you could pay for that, miss," I trailed off, pretending that I don't know her yet. "Well, so wrong, because I know all about her. Scorton, Charlotte Selden," she answered, bowing her head. "Well, Miss Scorton, I don't think that you could, and by the way that you look guilty, I can say that I'm right," I said with a frustrated look, propping my elbow on the sofa, looking at her. But deep inside I'm celebrating. I know that my plan will work because I know that she doesn't have that much amount. "I will try to pay you, mister," she asked, but before I could say, she suddenly continues, "But just give me some time, I promise," she said with a pleading voice. "I'll rather make a deal with you than to wait you to pay me little by little," I said with coldness and business tone like. "I have to do that so all of my plans won't be sabotage. This really couldn't have happened because of that cashier guy. And I think I can handle the deal," she said, almost whispering the first sentence, but I heard it clear and loud. The place is full of eerie silence except if someone talks. "And what this cashier guy did exactly to you?" I asked angrily, and she sensed it. "He tried to get on me, but I just shrugged him off, but still he tries, and he slapped me from my butt, and I was so pissed off, so I slapped him hardly on his face. I was about on bursting on tears when I bumped into you," she said angrily. I was so much more than pissed off the moment she said, "He slapped me from my butt." No one touches my girl except from me. Her mind, soul and body is all ready for me. I'm the only one who can touch her, kiss her, cuddle with her, and give her what she wants. I think the guy's an asshole treating a girl like that, and about the deal, I want you to work for me so you can pay me easily and I can be sure about you paying me, I said with a smirk. She don't know what's to come next. I'm gonna accept the job if it's not against my will or not illegal, she said defiantly. Well, looks like she won't turn me down. Then be my wife, I said with amusement on my voice, and I smirked. What? She yelled in front of my face because she leaned. I think she's overreacting, but I can't blame her. Well, I think it's not illegal because I can make a contract, and I don't think it's against your will because you have no choice but to pay me off exactly. I lean more on her, and we're a centimeter away, our noses are almost touching. I have my ways to let you give in and take the deal, I said, arching my head to the side, almost kissing her. When she speaks I stop midway, my breath fanning her lips. What do you mean by ways? She said, gulping, which already makes me hard, and she's looking down at my lips. I moved away from her and looked at her straight in the eyes. Oh, I forgot to tell you who I am. I'm Edward Solbourne, I said, grinning widely. I heard her gasp and backed away from me. Well, I think the name rings a bell, I said with a smirk. It can't be, you're Edward Solbourne, that $1 billion guy, she said lowly but with a very shocked expression. I was a little disappointed that she doesn't remember me. Edward Castor, his high school best friend and of course her lover. But I understand, 'cause she wouldn't recognize my physical appearance, being muscular and well-built, from skinny and nerdy. My name Edward Solbourne, from Edward Castor. Yes, and you already know I have my connections. It's either you work for me so I have no doubt of your payment or end up in jail for maybe 2 years or more, I said in a business tone, but I can't get off the smirk. I'm just so happy that my plan will work. She wouldn't want to end up in jail, would she? And it's not like I'm gonna put her anywhere except in my house. Fine, just give me a week, then I will decide, she pleaded. A week is it then, I said with finality. Johnson's background checked the guy who works as a cashier from the 7-Eleven store a couple of blocks from Charlotte's house, threatened him so he would resign from his job and tell him to never touch my girl, I said to the phone, hanging up after I finished. Maybe this would not be the last, but would warn guys who make a move on my girl. Chapter 4. Charlotte's POV. It's been a week since the vase that I broke from Mr. Soltaire's penthouse, which cost a couple million. And now is the time I need to give him my decision. I don't have a choice but to go and tell him there is no sense in running away from him. He can find me in every part of this world. He would want to be cheated, and money is his life, it's important to him. Now I'm standing in front of his penthouse. I pushed the doorbell and waited for someone to open the door, and was surprised to see Mr. Soltaire himself, wearing a white V-neck shirt and a gray sweatpants. I think I was ogling at him because you can visibly see the outline of his muscles through the thin shirt. His six-packs are so nice. Are you done eye-raping me, Charlotte? He asked with a smirk, a playful look in me. Excuse me, sir, but I'm not eye-raping you, I defended. I'm a little angry for his accusation. But the way he say my name makes me want to faint. It's the first time he call me by my first name. Well then, let's say that you're checking me out, he said, which make his smirk wider. I just rolled my eyes at him, but the smirk doesn't leave his sexy lips. Yeah, I wouldn't deny it, he really have sexy lips. Could we just go down to business, Edward? I suddenly gasped and covered my mouth at the realization. I just call a billionaire by his first name, a girl who just lives in a small house. Don't worry, it's fine, and when you say it out from your mouth it became sexy, he says, sensually leaning in front of my face, making us both at the same height. I bite my lip so I couldn't say more words I regret, and it's because of our nearness. Don't do that, he said, closing his eyes but still in the same position. Why? I asked, but still biting my lower lip. He looked at TME and closed his eyes again and groaned loudly, running his hands to his hair, ruffling it, which makes him more handsome. Just go inside so we can talk, he said it without even looking at me. I just nodded my head and follow him inside. Sit here, he pats next to his sit. I walk towards him and sit beside him. I want to tell you straightly that yes, I already accept it, I don't have a choice. Well, I do have, but I don't have another good choice. It's rather this than go to jail and live there a couple of years or maybe more, I said so fast that I think he didn't catch up. Well then, I'm going to get the contract, he said, and was about to stand up, but I got hold of his arms and he slumped back down on the chair. About that I want to have rules. It's the only way I can agree to this deal, I said with pleading eyes. He sighed, grabbed a pen and a notepad and handed it to me. Fine, but I want it to be reasonable, he said sternly. Okay, I replied, feeling happy. After about 3 minutes I handed him the paper and his expression is so priceless. He read it loudly. Rules. 1. No physical contacts in any way. 2. Separate beds. 3. Separate bathrooms. 4. No personal space invasion. 5. No endearments or use in any word. 6. I can do whatever I want with or without your permission. 7. No questions in everything I do. 8. I would let you do whatever you want, but you have to make sure to tell me your absence so I know. 9. If I'm going to meet your parents, it's the only time I can act as your real wife. 10. If I am acting in front of everybody, we can just wipe off number 1, but there is only holding hands on my waist or shoulders, and is banned to any other places. Seriously, this are all your rules, he said unamused, threw the notepad on the table in front of him and propped his elbows at the sofa. Yes, is there any problem? I asked, confused. Yes, there is, every rule is the problem, he states angrily, looking at me, still propping his elbows at the sofa. The rules are what all married peoples do, he continued. Yes, but that's the only way I can feel safe, I muttered lowly, lowering my head. You'll always be safe with me, he said, and his eyes softened, putting his hands above mine. After minutes of silence he finally spoke up. If that's what you really want, then I'm going to make the contract, he says, standing up, and I just nodded my head. We walk upstairs, his footstep echo from the stair glass. 20 minutes later. I was still here, just looking at everything that are so fancy, which I know costs a lot, but also made sure not to add another debt. I was bored on sitting, so I decided to stand up, and something caught my attention. The view of New York City at daylight is so beautiful. Cars are lining up in traffic and peoples are in a bunch walking at the sides of the busy street, rushing. The sun peeking through the big glass wall, lighting up the whole living room. I was mesmerized by the beauty until someone interrupted me. Well, it's only one person, who I guess would be. Hey, now I'm not the only one you're checking out, he says playfully with a smirk, and is leaning at the side of the wall with crossed arms. I just chuckled at his statement. So where's the contract? I asked. He looks down at the table, and I saw a white folder with a pen at its side. I walk towards it and sit, grabbing the folder. I examined the folder and that all of my rules are set, but then I also noticed that there are some other rules that are not mine. Rules of Mr. Soltaire. 1. No guys are allowed to be in touch with you in any way. 2. Family guys should still be in perimeters away from you. 3. Whatever Mr. Soltaire says would be obliged to do by the other party without further questions. 4. Any rules of Mr. Soltaire that is break or not been in action, the contract will be terminated by both parties in power and in will of Mr. Soltaire only. 5. You're Mr. Soltaire's property, hence, you're mine, I read loudly. I looked at him in disbelief. Do you really think I would do incest? I asked annoyingly. No, but guys can lead to more guys. I just looked at him confused. Well, guys in your family has some friend guys, and of course you would cross path with them and look at you like a little prey, he said with clenched teeth at the mention of look. Don't worry, I won't do anything stupid while I'm stick to this contract. But how long is this contract going to be? I asked him, aware of that suddenly. For 3 years, he said like it's just nothing, and shrugged. That long? I asked, raising my eyebrow. He nodded and sit beside me. Well, if you don't like, there's another choice, he said, smirking. I know that he's talking about jail and want to get under my nerves. No, it's fine, it's better, I said abruptly, smiling against my will. He just smirked, looking straight at me. So when do I start? I asked, hyperly looking at him, propping my hand supporting me stretched out, my shoulders are heaving. Now. Oh, Sue, what? I yelled. Well, it's too so soon, it could be tomorrow. So I can even get ready and pack my things. Well, it will just happen if you're going to sign it now, he said, holding the pen. I guess this is it. I grabbed the pen and the folder, opening it. I signed the last page and he signed also. I'm going to call Johnson's to tell my man to get all your stuff in your apartment, he announced. No, I can do it myself, I told him. It's gonna be waste of time. But Come, I'll show our room, he cuts off. Our? I questioned. Yes, but 2 beds, unless you want to share mine, he smirks. He leaned and touches my arm, which make me gasp because I feel electric bolts surge drawn where his skin touched. Rule number 1, I reminded him, and his smirk instantly fade. Then he groaned loudly, which is my time to smirk. Please take a momentary pause and like this video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Let's continue the journey together. Chapter 5. Charlotte's POV. I open my eyes facing the big glass door of our bedroom. I just had the most wonderful sleep, and I'm hugging a big warm pillow that is facing my back. I remember what I just did that afternoon after going here in our bedroom. After looking at the whole penthouse, he told me that my things are already in my room and just needed to unpack. He volunteered to help, but I just said that I can already do it by myself. By that he joked something. Are you gonna hide your sexy lingeries from me? But don't worry, if I find them I'm not gonna tell you, he said, making me shocked and utterly disappointed at his dirty mind. Does he really think I have those kind of clothing? Well, I guess not. It's a joke, right? But I can tell it's not because he have that playful smirk. I don't really want him to help because I still have those personal things I have, like a high school picture of mine. It's not like I look disturbing, but I just don't want to bring back hurtful memories of my old loving friend and lover Edward. Edward is the only one who has been my real friend, and, wait a minute, Edward, my old friend, has also the same name to Mr. Edward Solbourne, and Edward was never been seen or back. There could be a big possibility that he and Mr. Soltaire is just. I was suddenly alarmed when there's a movement at my back and at my waist. What in the sheep's bum is happening in here? Then suddenly the movement pulls me closer and my back hit a hard wall, not literally. I suddenly jumped from out of the bed. Shh, I screamed, clutching the blanket so hard just to cover my front body. He rubs his eyelids, using his knuckles, still sleepy. Why are you in my bed? I asked, still shocked. Well, I thought it's good to sleep beside my new wife, he said, smirking but still with a close eyes facing me. How can someone be hot waking up in the morning? This is unfair. I just don't know how to kick him out since he owns the place. What I noticed is his toned body from his hard chest down to his yummy 6-pack abs. Wait, yummy, I think too many things when he's around, and things which are not good. I thought we already talked about this, I asked, uncomfortable from his stare. Well, I was just in a black short shorts and a fit white shirt that's barely covered by the blanket I am holding to dear life. Well, yes, but you didn't even complain. Instead, you hugged me tighter when I was just going to my bed, he smiled. He's gorgeous when he smiled but naughty when smirking. What? I thought you were a pillow and it was a little comfy, I explained, looking down because my face is tinted red. Yeah, a warm comfy pillow, he muttered lowly to himself. That I didn't almost catch up, but I did, which just makes my face scarlet red. Could you please get out? I'm just gonna do my own business, I asked, pleading. Oh, don't you want to sleep for an hour with your comfy pillow? He whined like a 5-year-old, opening his arms wide open. I giggled at his childishness and I saw his eyes soften. I'm sorry, I would like to, but it's already morning. And don't you have work? Well, about that, I won't go for work today. I'm spending my whole day with you, he said, grinning widely. What? Why? I asked, confused. We're going out. I was hesitant at first, but why not? There's no harm in trying. Why not? I shrugged. He suddenly stands up from his laying position with a wide smile. I'm going down to make our breakfast and do your business. He finally get up and leave the room, closing the door shut, still grinning. And that's when I release a heavy sigh. That man can really make me uncomfortable but at the same time entertained. I couldn't express the feeling I got when he's around, like being safe and always occupied with everything he could do, but still he is a total stranger for me. But I couldn't tell. Maybe he's someone that I already know, maybe his. My thoughts were cut off when the door suddenly opens and there he was, looking at me with raised brows. Well, I couldn't blame, all the while he was downstairs and here I am still standing where he left me. Frozen. I didn't dare to move or say anything before him first. I thought you're going to do some business, but by the looks of it, he said, scanning the surrounding, which nothing is really touched. Well, I was just thinking about something, I reasoned with an embarrassed smile. I'm just gonna tell you to go pick up a dress, we're already going out after having breakfast, he said, closing the door. I released a sigh but then suddenly jumped out of surprise when, oh, and one more thing, pick something which is more of closed so no one can make a mistake to look at my beautiful wife, he left, winking. Can't he be more surprising? Never mind, maybe just finish my own business. I walk through a drawer near the bed and pull out a paper, a candle, a scotch tape, a string, and a match. I fold the paper in many different ways, which I made a box like a lantern. I put the strings and positioned the candle at the bottom of the lantern box paper. I grabbed some things and walked to the balcony. I looked through the whole beautiful view of the city. Big buildings are just near, small shops can be seen, people doing things, and the sun rays from above. It's just like the old days with Edward. This was the anniversary of the day that he had left me. I thought he liked me. I thought he was really okay with me. I thought I could tell him that I love him so much. I thought we could be always together. But why did he left me without saying anything? He just disappeared like a bubble which popped. Why did he have to do all those things to make me feel better and lovable? If he's just going to leave me still waiting all these years. Tears started to fall uncontrollably from my eyes, remembering all the most beautiful things we did, but at the same time hurtful. Igniting the candle, I let go of the lantern and watch it flew higher and disappear. I wish I could see you again, Edward. After some time I decided to have a bath, so I made my way and grabbed a fit nude t-shirt and a dark blue skinny jeans with the underwears. I finished having a bath and grabbed a white flat sandals and a cardigan. I walked down the stairs to be greeted with delicious smells of food coming from the kitchen. I went straight to the kitchen to see mouth-watering foods placed on the table with 2 plates and with utensils, but Edward is nowhere to be seen. I sat on the chair eyeing the foods he made. There is Chinese fried rice with a decorated parsley at the top, the common bacon and egg, sautéed chicken on some red sauce, fried pork with a sweet and sour sauce with a little visible crushed black peppers above, steak with melted cheese above, and vegetable salad. They really are all delicious, but why so many? I think he doesn't have a stomach of a bear. I chuckled at the thought. Suddenly the room was filled with a very masculine scent that kept me intoxicated. I turned around and saw a freshly bathed Edward, muscles visible from his body, a wet 6-pack abs, water dripping from unruly hair, towel hanging low, and of course his mischievous smirk. Like what you see, honey, he said, making his smirk wider, if it's even possible. I just looked away from him, embarrassed. Don't be shy, honey, it's all yours, he said. I huffed, barely audible for him. I can feel that he is smirking, looking at me. Too much cocky. Well, I didn't finish, looking at him wide-eyed when I shifted my head because he's just centimeters away from my face. My mouth is slightly open from shock. You shouldn't be embarrassed, I'm yours and you're mine, he said, leaning more, and I was backing my head away. Come, let's eat, he said, walking away. I sighed, feeling relieved. I looked at him and... Aren't you going to get dressed first? I asked. I don't want to look at his body again. No need, he said with a smirk. Breakfast goes by really slow, I just keep my eyes everywhere but him. He would just keep stealing glances, and if I caught him he would just smile. And I know that he could feel the thick awkwardness in the air, but neither of us break the silence. I just focus on what I was eating and finally finished. I leaned back on my chair feeling so full. I didn't know a billionaire like him can cook like that. I saw him looking at me. What? I asked. Nothing, just wait in the living room, I'm going to get dressed, someone will arrive here later to clean this up, he explained. I just said an okay and made my way to the living room. After 5 minutes Edward walked down the stairs wearing a black fitted jeans, a dark blue low-cut shoes, and a white button-up shirt, 2 buttons undone and sleeves rolled up showing some muscles. You ready? He asked. I just nodded. We ended up going to this a little small park which have a small lake and only has a few people who walks around. Some kids are playing at the seesaw or running and catching some other kids. It's so fascinating to watch, I said with smile. Yeah, he just replied. He started walking to the direction of the bench, so I followed. Then we sit. My mother always takes me here when I was 6. She sometimes let me go in here by myself when we lived in front of this park. But when my mom died, we lived in somewhere far from here. The day I started high school, I can't have friends because of my appearance. After he said the word appearance, I look at him. I mean, like, seriously. Who wouldn't want a friend like him? I bet no one. He's too good looking and hot. I doubt that he looks horrible when high school, but based on his tone I'm having a second thought. It's really hard for me to find someone to talk, let alone a friend. He chuckled. But his expression becomes a frown and continued, and it turns out that I got on the point that I got bullied. No, let me rephrase that. I always got bullied, especially by populars. But it all changed when a girl came into my life. He paused, having a big smile. She helped me change my life, and then on until now I can't forget about her. She's still in my heart. That's why I always went here all the years, because the day I met her is the day I went here and remembered her. He sighed and looked at me with sad eyes. After he said those things, something pinched my heart that it hurts. It feels like daggers are slowly pushed and pulled from your heart. I don't know or understand why, but it just came, like I have some heart disorder. But why does he have to tell me? Am I jealous? Do I feel anything about him? Does he care about what I feel? Everything's, I don't know. I'm confused. Why are you telling all of this to me, Edward? I said with pleading eyes, almost teary, getting ready of what's to come next. Charlotte, I'm telling you all of this because, he paused, because you're Edward didn't finish because he was cut off by a voice calling my name. Charlotte, a deep masculine voice said, standing in front of us. I looked slowly to where the voice was. I know that I would regret it, because as soon as my eyes landed on his face I couldn't stop myself from reminiscing the bad stories of the past. Why does he have to come back now? Why now? Please take a momentary pause and like this video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Let's continue the journey together. Chapter 6. Edward's POV. He's here, but what the fuck is he doing here? All those traumatic years he did, and now he's back to ruin her again. Those past 7 years that I left Charlotte, I know I can't protect her anymore with this bastard, and only heaven knows what happened when I was gone, which surely is something that scarred her for life. I want to punch him straight in the face and smash his head to erase his face from that head, and that would satisfyingly make up for all of those fucking years of hardship he gave her. I got a hold from all of my anger as she stared at him straightly, and tears started to form around her eyes. I want to hold her right now, but the rejection I'll get from giving to see this guy he once loved would pain me. I just stood beside her and tried to hug her, trying to block him away from her sight, and started cooing her, and not to my surprise he broke the hug and pushed me away. I look at her, as her tears trickled down her cheeks continuously like waterfalls, and it hurt me seeing her sad again after those long sad years. I want to see her smiling, that's why I brought her not to make her cry. She shoved me out of the way and stepped forwards while this fucker stood there looking sad, and I know how fake that facade is from what he really is. What are you doing here? Charlotte tried to voice out as tears just run more from her cheeks. Charlotte, I'm here to apologize to you, he replied back and tried to touch her, but she flinched and moved back. And that's when I decided to take a hold of the matter and walked in front Charlotte, blocking him from seeing her, and pushed him away. Who are you? Move, man. If you fucking think I'll let you touch my wife, you're wrong. Don't you ever lay a finger on her or I'll break those bones of yours, I threatened, glaring at him and shoving him more so he could be far away as much as possible from Charlotte. From my big figure I have surpassed his height and stature, unlike when we were in high school, so I don't have a problem just pushing him off and showing him who's at the top now. He tried doing the same, pushing me, but I didn't even budge from his weak force. What a tryhard. I got worried about Charlotte, and I don't want her to be just standing there crying, because I know how easy she gets sleepy from doing so I instructed her to get in the car, and she complied, making me guard her away from this jerk. When I knew that she was already in the car, I tried to take advantage of her being not her, because I wouldn't want her to see me as a bad person as I am. Look here, Alfred, I don't know how you found us here, but never ever get close to her ever again, I said as a last warning, and pushed him off. I don't know who you are or how you knew my name, but I'll get her from you no matter what, he spat. I would want to just leave him alone and walked out like I didn't hear him, but he'd just have to open his mouth and threaten me to steal my wife from me. I clenched my fist hard from the anger boiling up inside me and punched him straight in the face, making him stumble and bleed from his nose. I left him there in his bloody state, but I don't care, and he can fucking cry for all I care. I got into the car and saw that she was still crying. Not that much, and the tears have subsided, but the involuntary hiccups are present and make me want to cuddle her, but I know that now is not the time. I drove out of the park and back to the mansion where she will need to be, because any second by now she will be sleeping from crying her eyes out. My poor baby have to see that guy again, and he had the audacity to pop out in front of her. I won't take care of him for any matter, because I know my threat and punch would be a good warning for him to stay out of Charlotte again. I'm sorry that you have to see me like this, she said in her voice in between her hiccups. It's fine, you don't have to be sorry, I tried to assure her. I just can't help it when I saw him, she said. If it's fine for you, who was that guy anyway? I asked, pretending not knowing him. There was a moment of silence, and I think she's probably not ready to share it with me anytime sooner, but then she answered me. He was Alfred, my high school bully. He was once before my boyfriend, but then we broke up and bullied me too with my friend with me. He was a great guy, but then he started acting different and started hurting a lot of guys. That's when I got involved and he started hurting me too, but I can't do anything because I was so afraid of him. He would punch and extort from people while he gets off from doing all of those things just because he have connections, but what hurt me the most is what he did to him. I can bear all the hurtful things and words thrown at me, but he just have to involve others and use me to make them feel bad. And I regret for not knowing so early, because I have to lose someone so important, she said, then started sobbing. My grip on the steering wheel got tighter until my knuckles turned white, and I was fuming as I remember exactly all of those things she said. We got out of the car, and as just expected she would fall asleep, and before we even got home she was already sleeping with those big puffed eyes from crying, and I feel so bad right now. I carried her bridal style, not wanting to wake her up because I know that she's tired and she deserves to have a long nap. I got into the room, putting her and pulling the cover over her, leaving her there in her comfort. I looked at her figure in the bed, and I definitely would want to sleep next to her and snuggle up with her. But I can't leave those paperworks that needed to be finished, and I would want to be back again and check her and maybe sleep next to her after finishing them. I got into my office and start reading some documents, but every time that I tried to focus, the more that I think more about her. And I would be very much more interested in being next to her than doing these things. I hurriedly tried to finish almost half after an hour, but I can't take reading much more anymore, so I decided to check up on her and maybe see if she's already awake. Once I saw her in the bed, sprawled out, seducing me from the position she was in, I can't help but think of those nasty things that I definitely want to come true. She was sleeping facing me, and her long legs are clasped together and up to her stomach, where I saw her flat belly from the way her cloth moved up, and her chest are peeking through the clothes in which I can see her brassiere. I licked my lips at the sight and my body began heating all of a sudden. I would want to have her right now, but just seeing her there innocently seducing me. I'm hard from the sight, and I'm restraining myself from doing anything that would wake her up. And I still have half of the paperworks to finish. I groaned internally from just remembering that there's still a lot, but that did got my erection out of my body. I walked out of the room, leaving her there without making a noise, and got back to my office, where I'll just have to fix this by myself. Please take a momentary pause and like this video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Let's continue the journey together. Chapter 7. Charlotte's POV. I just woke up from napping because I become tired of crying. I was so disappointed about so many things, like not hanging out with Edward for the whole day outside, for seeing Alfred, and for telling my story to Edward. I know that he would think that I cried because of a lame story, but I know to myself that it is not. Flashback. Edward is not here today. I always waited him at our hidden spot in the school to hang out, but not for half an hour late. I'm still here beside the tree thinking that he got sick, so he's not here. After 5 minutes. I decide to find Edward myself, thinking that I only have 20 minutes more and that he would not come. I slowly slip from the bushes, but not after seeing the coast is clear. I started walking to the hall, making myself unnoticed from the crowd, but as I continue walking I could hear murmurs and whispers hearing my name. But I couldn't blame them, why wouldn't they? Charlotte Selden, a small-town girl who was typical to have a friend rejected the most popular boy in school, Alfred Marlowe. Alfred Marlowe, as everyone knows, the most hot, rich, and girls would die for him. He came from Spain, living here in New York because of their family business. And one thing girls really like about him, including me, is his accent. But I try to avoid students like him. I try to avoid getting into trouble because of the populars. And I don't like Alfred, honestly. Before I can go inside the cafeteria, which where me and Edward meet sometimes, someone pulled my wrist. I thought it was Edward. That I let out a bright smile, but my smile faded after realizing it was not Edward but none other than Alfred. "What do you want, Alfred?" I tried not to be mean, but I could not hide my annoyance. People from not too far away started to glare and whisper things which could be heard loudly, not really a whisper but a murmur. "I wanted to talk to you," he said, dragging me to the library. I didn't even try to stop him because he had this serious look on his face, knowing it's something really important. After going to somewhere really secluded part of the library that is hidden, Alfred let go of my hand and faced me with a worried expression. "He left," was all he said, looking at the floor, not facing me. At first I didn't understand what he meant, but then it dawned on me that he was talking about Edward. "What do you mean left?" I asked, confused. "He gave me this before he left, saying he can't give this to you, and I saw that he's really in a hurry," he said sympathetically, like he already know. I eyed him and the paper before snatching it away from his hands. I opened the paper and it said, "Dear Charlotte, I know that we've known each other for exactly a year yesterday. I know that neither of us won't forget what happened in that day that we first met. I never in the whole year of being with you had a chance to say how grateful I am that I met you and be friends with you. But a personal problem had come abruptly that I couldn't even tell you personally, so maybe you would understand that I cannot be at school. And I think I can never be able to go back. Yours truly, Edward." The second letter states, "And one more thing that I really hate about you is because you're clumsy and all. I didn't even know that I even stand that trait of yours. P.S. I hate your outfit for every day." That day I have hardly believed that it was Edward's writing, but the penmanship tells other way. I started crying for that day, and Alfred would always come up to comfort me, at the same time telling bad things about Edward. Maybe he's joking. Why would Edward left me without saying or leaving anything? He's not that kind of a person. Until one day while I was walking at the corridors, I heard a familiar sound, arguing with someone. I then got curious of who may it be, then follow where the voice was coming from. The closer I get, the right I was on knowing the person's voice was, "It's Alfred. Do whatever you can to make more letters. I'll pay how much you want," Alfred said. And it made me so curious and confused on what is he talking about. I also didn't have the intention of eavesdropping, but I felt something was not right because the way they talk is like they just want it to be for just the both of them. They keep their voice too low, but the silence in the room is enough to hear them like they're having a normal conversation. "Dude, I can't help you anymore. Manipulating her like this would not turn out right. You know that." It was one of his male friends. "Manipulating who?" "You know that you're the only man who can copy Edward's handwriting. Just write me this last letter and I won't bother you anymore," Alfred says. "But what does it have to do with Edward's handwriting?" "You should be," the man mumbled, annoyed. "Yeah, you know Edward, that fucking piece of shit. He doesn't deserve her. She's too good for him. And that jackass is nothing but a worthless friend. Charlotte deserves me better than him," Alfred snorted. Alfred starts saying things that are really bad about me, like how Edward really dislikes me being clumsy and all. He also states that I look so disturbing and so ugly that he only sticks with me because I'm smart. He continues saying those while his friend writes them in a paper. I suddenly steps out of my hiding spot and seeing the both of them shock, which is an understatement. They look like they saw a living dead. "Charlotte," Alfred breathed out. I just stared at them. Drop of tears slowly drop one by one. I feel so dumb, so innocent, and so helpless at that time, and I wish Edward was here to console me. But if he was here, would he think that I'm too weak to find help from someone? Too innocent to be easily deceived and tricked? Too pathetic to give trust to people easily? I cry harder thinking what would have happened if Edward didn't leave me. Then we could be together. I run, ignoring the screams of my name being called out and pushing past people to cry out the pain all by myself. End of flashback. I was cut off in my trance when the door opens widely, revealing Edward. He seems to be in a deep thought too, but his face changed immediately that I can't tell. "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. Maybe I'll just come back later." He was about to walk out, but I spoke. "Wait. It's fine, you're not disturbing me. I just remember, Alfred," I told him, and saw his jaw tick. Well, he starts speaking and sitting at the edge of the bed facing me. We're going to move to somewhere. This place is my temporary living state and I want you to meet new people you could socialize with at this new place, he explains nervously. And where is this new place? To the mansion. The mansion is too big and too amazing. A man wearing a suit opened the door while Edward is leading the way. At the end of the staircase are lines of maids having smiles on their faces and some are men in suits. Edward came to my side and wrapped his arms around me, looking at me and to them with a smile. Everyone, this is my wife, Charlotte Solbourne, he said, and I just looked at him. I didn't know that this is the feeling when my name as his wife is being said. Charlotte Solbourne, I thought. After the maids and helpers introduced themselves, Edward told me that the unpacking is done and I could go to our room. He left, walking away, going to his office to finish something, leaving me with one of the maids saying that she would guide me to our room. The maid left after I said a thank you. I look around the room and saw that it's not as plain as I think it would be. The walls are painted a baby blue, the doors are the color of a dark brown, the floor is a carpeted yellow color, the ceiling is white. In the left side of the room is a king-size bed which is all white, and on the left is a big TV screen in front of the bed. Next to it is an adjacent door of what I think is a walk-in closet and a bathroom door, I guess. It's either, which one is? I ploppled on the soft bed looking at the ceiling, thinking about things that had happened to me just this month. To summarize it all, I was really desperate on having my favorite coffee in a 7-Eleven store, then got sexually harassed by the cashier guy, and I stomped away not caring about other people. Then I accidentally bumped into Edward, who was really handsome and rich. Then suddenly I married to him. An average girl who lives his life normally. A month before that he met this gorgeous man and got married to him for her clumsiness. Her life was going fine until then, but she finds herself having feelings to this man and afraid that she might be rejected, leave and break the contract. But then something unexpected came into her life, her high school horror, not really but mostly. Alfred just popped in a small park where we met again after 5 years, I guess, and now here I am in a big mansion of the great billionaire Mr. Edward Solbourne, which is also my husband. But the question is, there is so many things that he can propose to me. And why being his wife? Why me? Then I stopped thinking for a question that I can't answer. So I decided to get up and just roam the house a little bit for a distraction. I was at the second floor of the hallway, which is really big considering that there are so many doors attached to the side, and I was wondering what is inside. I walked down the stairs and saw that there are many entrances, so I get to the right where I see a big dining table with a chandelier above the ceiling and so many fancy stuffs that I don't know are decorated at the table, and to both sides are big glass windows with a big red curtains. I started to go to the opposite direction where I saw the living room, where you could see big sofas and a table at the center with a big TV in front. As I started walking, I heard rushing footsteps coming from a corner, but I ignored it and continued walking. Then from that corner a tall, gorgeous man appeared a few feet away from me. I stared at man, studying his features: a strong jawline, a pointed nose, gray eyes, unruly hair that makes him a boy next door, 6 foot and a muscular build, but Edward's more handsome. Yeah, now you're thinking too much about Edward. Why don't you say that in front of him? My subconscious told me. Stop, the stranger said to me. What? Why would I listen to him? There's no reason for me to obey him. So I ignore him and walk, and the man advanced to me. The man tripped over something because he's kind of outbalanced, and being the closest to him, he gripped me by my collarbone, and I got really shocked and angry. Well, my chest is a little big, so when he gripped my collarbone, his palm is resting above my chest. And when he realizes, he looked shocked, his eyes widen, but he just keep his hands on place, so I did the right thing. I grab both of his shoulder and kick him where the sun don't shine, so he remove his hands in my shoulder and then cup his. You know what I mean. But his doing this in front of me and was about to grab my hand for support, but what I did next is punch him straight in his nose. He fell to the ground with a loud, painful groan coming from him, one of his hands holding his private area, the other is holding his nose with blood oozing. He was laying on the ground, rolling from side to side because of pain and mumbling incoherent words I don't want to hear. I walk past the man pretending that nothing happened, but he gripped my hand, so I look at him. I touch his hand trying to get it out of his grip, but before I could do it, Edward is standing there, who was looking shocked. What happened here? He asked, surprised and a little angry. Uh-oh. I think I pissed him off. No, I think both of the guys. Please take a momentary pause and like this video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Let's continue the journey together. Chapter 8. Edward's POV. I'm here at my office waiting for Henry to come, but he's still not here. So I've decided to read and sign some stocked files in my table just to keep myself occupied. It would be better if Charlotte was here sitting right next to me holding my hands, relieving my stress, but that's not the thing. She still hasn't adjusted to all the events that had happened, and I can't blame her about it. Sighing in frustration, I stood up in my swivel chair and walked towards my office door, going out to get myself a drink because I'm not doing so much, so I didn't bother to call one of the maids. Walking past some rooms, I heard a loud noise coming from the living room. As my curiosity grows of who would be doing such noise, I walked and followed where it was coming from. As soon as I saw what was happening, I couldn't believe what was in front of me. Charlotte is standing there with a shocked expression, holding Henry's hand that's clutching her wrist. And to add to that, Henry is a mess. His clothes are disheveled and some blood from his nose and shirt. I couldn't actually imagine what had happened here, and by the looks of it this didn't end somewhat great. What happened here? I asked, surprised and a little angry for not knowing. I can explain, she said, immediately pulling Henry's hand away from her and coming in front of me. Tell me. I didn't purposely do that to him. Well, there's a reason. This man here, she points to Henry, who was standing in his own, still bending from pain in his dick, started to walk towards me. Then I don't know if it's accidental that he suddenly tripped, coming out of balance and grabbing me here. She then pointed at her, showing cleavage. So I kicked him, she said with pleading eyes. Of course I would believe her. She wouldn't just kick people because she wants to. And it surprised me that she uses the moves she used to tell me in high school when she used to practice. She never let me see how she practices or do some moves for me to see. It was a big deal to her, especially to me, that she was touched to her private area. I wouldn't want to just get angry about what happened on both of them. What I need is to know what really happened. Rose, I yelled to one of my maids. Then she came rushing towards me and gasped loudly at what she saw. Is there anything you need, sir? She said, almost stopping at every word, taking a look to Henry. I need you to call someone to help you to assist Henry to my office, I said sternly, and then she left. Are you mad at me? Charlotte asked, looking at the floor, and I know that her voice held sadness and dejection. No, of course I'm not. I held both of her shoulders and shook her a little. I'm just angry because I didn't come here earlier. I spoke to her softly, then she looked at me and gave me a weak smile. Go to our room, then we'll talk, I told her. She walked to her room upstairs without looking back and waited until she was out of sight. Rose came back with another maid, Anna, and helped Henry to stand up and attend to his bloody nose. They assist him to my office, and I waited for the maids to go out before I speak. Henry, what have you done to my Charlotte? I said as calmly as I could. Even if he is my friend, I won't think twice of punching him if he'll tell me that he did touch Charlotte on the wrong way purposely. But him being my closest friend, he knew about my obsession towards her, and he wouldn't dare to touch what's mine. I didn't do it purposely, I promised. He looked at me with pleading eyes just like Charlotte's. He flinched at every word as he kept a hold of the ice pack in his nose. Then tell me, I demanded. Well, she was walking in the living room looking around where I first saw her, which makes her obliviously about the water in the floor that someone probably spilled, so I told her to stop. But she didn't listen, so I walked towards her, stepping at the wet floor. I almost tripped if I didn't hold her quickly in her shoulders, but from the fact that she have a huge chest, my hands rested on above her private upper area. I didn't want to take advantage to her. At first I was shocked, so before I could get my hands off her, she kicked my crotch, he explained while taking care of his nose. Well, I'm sorry for that. She just went to her defensive mode, I told him with amusement. She's a feisty one, I could say, he chuckled. So what makes you call me just to go here? He asked. I need your help. I pulled out my phone and called Cardivios. Cardivios, can you come here in my office? Then I hung up. So you're telling me that Charlotte is still head over heels in love to you as the old Edward? Henry repeated for the 7th time. I just nodded at him. Right now I'm here facing the two person that I've trusted, asking for a solution to get rid of the old Edward. What do you suggest for me to do? Go to her and tell her, Charlotte, do you remember me, your old high school friend who left you without saying anything, and could you just forget about me? We could start a new relationship. Is that what you want me to do? I asked frustratedly. I didn't still came up with a good idea either. Knowing Henry as the mind trickster, I know he can suggest something great, at the least his craziest. Calm down, man. It really is a good idea, why don't you at least try first, he suggested. I glared at him, but then I know that he has those insane ideas. I'm being serious here. I don't know how to get her heart if she already gave it to someone she's not sure that would come back. What I want is to make her angry to Edward and forget about him, which I don't know how to. I know I'm being ridiculous for being angry at them because for the least they're not helping me. Sir, I can suggest that you should just send her a text telling that you're already married so she would forget about you, Cardivio said. You mean to forget the old me, I corrected him. Yes, master, that's what I mean. Well, you're right, but I don't think she would believe me. I thought about her doubting the text. Well, you could say to the text that's sorry for leaving her without saying anything, just like that, then add some details connected to her so it will look believable. Then tell her you're already married. Henry explained. Maybe that would be a great idea. But it will leave her heartbroken if I will tell her straightly, I doubted. But it would be more heartbreaking if you will tell her late, he's right about it. So should I text her right now? I asked the both of them. Cardivios just nodded while Henry spoke up, of course, so if something wrong came up then we'll help you. I got my phone and texted Charlotte. No need of thinking how I got here number, a billionaire has his own ways. Hi, Charlotte, do you still remember me, Edward, your old friend back in high school? I just want to give you a piece of me in your mind to restore the things that I mess up for almost 7 years. Before I send the message I let them look at it. Is it good? No man, it's not, Henry said, shaking his head. Do you want to give her a heart attack? You're almost giving her the creepiest text and much worser than your little suggesting speech earlier, he mocked. It's not creepy at all, I defended. You're going straight to the point so fast. I know I said you have to, but not to the point you scare her. Just start with a hi, then she'll ask who you are, then start a good conversation, he explained. I know he's right and I won't argue with him this time. So I typed a hi, then send it to her number. I waited for 5 minutes and still no reply. I'm thinking of the worst that might happen when she received the text. That mobe, she blocked my number already. She still didn't reply, my best friend asked. I just nodded my head, feeling anxious at every second that passed. Then my phone vibrated and made a sound. I saw that I've got a message. Well, hello, could I ask who is this? I can't believe it, she just replied, and I grin at the idea of her thinking of texting back. So I instantly typed. It's me, Edward, did you remember? What do you mean you're Edward, and why would I believe you? It's me, Edward Castor, your grade 8 friend. Do you still remember when we used to sneak out to stay in a tree where we could have our break? Edward, can I call you? I just want to hear your voice. Fuck, I hissed. What happened? Henry moved the ice pack out of his face, turning all his attention to me as Cardivios stared curiously. She wanted to call me, what do I say? I asked. Let her, he said. Are you crazy? She would recognize my voice, I stated the obvious. She won't, trust me. But pray that she won't, he muttered the last part. You're unbelievable. I always am, he smirked. Sure, you can call me right now. I texted her. My forehead and palms started to sweat because of anxiousness waiting for her call. After a couple of minutes my phone went off ringing, popping Charlotte's number. I'm not sure, but I immediately answered it, forgetting my nervousness. Hello, Edward, her angelic voice is the only sound occupying the silence of the whole room. I cleared my throat to change my voice even for a little before speaking. Yes, it's me. I could hear her sigh and sob at the background. Charlotte, I said with softness, trying to console her. Edward, I've missed you, she said between cries while trying to stop herself from crying, and I imagine her smiling. Me too. I always thought that you've already forgot about me. I thought that I could never find you again, she cried out. I've never forgot about her for 7 years. She's the only person who occupied my mind every single day. Even I always meet some good-looking heiresses because of my business, and if even they try to seduce me, I've never thought of another woman besides her. I always got in the situation where I have to be married to some business tycoon's daughter just to make our company bigger, but I always reject and deny them. I've always loved her since the day I met her, and nothing could stop me from getting her. I'm sorry for leaving you. I tried to call you to say I'm engaged and that I'm living here at, I pull out my phone to my ear and blocked the speaker using my hand. Where should I say I live? I asked the both of them. Florida, Henry mouthed. I nod. Live here in Florida, I continued. Oh, I see, you found the girl who would be with you forever, she chuckled, but why didn't you just find my phone number earlier so I could just even meet your fiancé, she said with amusement in her voice. I don't know how to react at her words, she said, as if they're true or she's just hiding that fact that she's hurt. I'm also sorry for that, I said, feeling guilty at all of this. It's fine, and I understand that you're busy planning about your wedding. She paused and sighed. Edward, can we meet? It's the last thing I want before your marriage because I know you're going to be busy after that, she pleaded. I look at both of them, seeing their reaction. Cardivio's just had a blank expression while Henry was thinking deeply. Then Henry looked at me, nodded. I hope I wouldn't regret my decision. Sure, when do you want to meet? I asked. Maybe in a week. Is it okay? Yeah. Bye, Edward, nice talking to you again. Bye, Charlotte. I put my phone aside, leaning in my table, pinching my nose. Dude, I know what you're thinking, but you don't have to meet her as you. I look at Henry curiously. What do you mean? Meet her as the old you. Vintage clothes, black rim glasses, banged hair, and the innocent face you have to keep up if you really want to start a good terms with her, not revealing that you're Edward Solbourne. So what do? I ask. First, let's get you a real makeover, Henry said, smirking. Chapter 9. Edward's POV. I know that Henry might be one of the craziest person I have ever trusted, but still he helps a lot. He would have probably failed a mental exam for being insane, but in his case it's what causes him to attract girls, but not the girl he had loved. Now here we are at one of my stores where I first brought Charlotte and where she chose my cloth the first time we met. Henry insisted me on the makeover thing needed when I have to meet Charlotte. About the baggy long-sleeved shirt that he want me to have and those loose pants with a pair of shiny leather shoes. What a really good combination, I thought. I doubt that we could find those kinds of clothings here in my store. Not to be arrogant, but my store sells the best of the best clothings here in New York, and only people who look decent enough can buy to come here, and thinking of it, I don't think we could find those clothes for me. This is not the right place to bring me for my what's so-called makeover, I mocked. Oh dude, just wait, he smirked. The smirk that always makes me curious and at the same time creeped out about what was coming, so I narrowed my eyes at him, but he just ignored me. We walked to the aisles and every girls, even the sale ladies, started whispering and giggling whenever we passed them or gave them a single look, which Henry loves and what I don't give a damn. Some guys are looking straightly at us and I thought it was because they're admiring us. Girls are just like precious stones which are needed to be protected and taken care of, but for Henry they are just a thing that makes men pleasurable, or the what he called pleasuring toys. He uses them for his own pleasure, not the other way around, and dump them after using them. He never ever takes a girl twice. And I'm shocked that he hasn't impregnated someone, yet. He always thinks that he could get the past off of his mind if he fucks off every girl he wants, but every time he comes over my house he confesses that he can't. Hey man, are you alright? He asked worriedly, elbowing my side. I'm fine, I replied. He just looked at me skeptically, then turns, waving a sales lady over us for assistance. I wasn't paying attention on who was the sales lady, but not after I heard again the flirtatious sound I didn't heard for over a week after our encounter with her with Charlotte. Now she's flirting again, but not with me but with Henry. What a total slut. The blonde sales lady flips her hair, making it fly all over and look messy, but she didn't care as long as she can talk to Henry. You're telling that I'm beautiful, sir, she said in a very high-pitched voice. Yes, and could you assist me and my friend over here to find these clothes? Henry said, handing a piece of paper to the girl. The girl scrunches up her nose in disgust while scanning what's on the paper and then looked at me. Sure, I think I could find this here, she smiles, sickeningly shining and then winking at me before leaving, swaying her hips. Slut. She's disgusting, I told him while sitting on the couch staring on some clothes, crossing my arms. And irritating too, he added. I just nod at that for response. I don't hook up with girls that's so clingy. They run up to me like a freaking psycho and will tell that our intercourse is the best just to hit a second on me. And it's not going to happen, he said disgustedly, remembering some of those unexpected events such as what he had just said. I just shrugged. The girl came back holding clothes in hangers, looking at us seductively. Which we both returned a glare she practically ignored. Here you go, sir. She placed the clothes in front of us above the table. And call me if you needed me. She winks again. And this time Henry tried smiling, even if it's evident he's annoyed, but restrained himself from saying something hurtful. So back to our makeover thing, he started clapping his hands, shoving the previous scene aside. Here, what's you need? He handed me the baggy long-sleeved shirt and the lost pants with a box of a pair of shoes. This is it? I asked. He nodded. And tomorrow we'll try to fix your look, so be ready about the outcoming results. Yeah, sure, I said sarcastically. I hate my old look. I arrived at home feeling exhausted from everything that happened today. And I totally forgot that I have to talk to Charlotte about what happened earlier. She might have probably taken dinner and went off to sleep. I walked straight to our room thinking that I could just snuggle up to her. If you have a virgin mind, don't continue, just skip this part. I've already warned you. Even if this part is really, really important. Charlotte is standing there with wet hair and a towel on his hands, dressed in shorts and an oversized t-shirt. And not to forget, she's staring at my treasure while gaping. Charlotte, before I could explain, she cut me off. You should really explain to me, she said, still flabbergasted. But first get proper clothes, she said, looking away while throwing the towel, which landed exactly on my manhood. A lot of talking to do. Chapter 10. Edward's POV. I just watch as how Charlotte stare at me blankly, utterly still flabbergasted as to what she just saw. And I couldn't blame her about it. Well, there's only two things that can be there on her mind right now. First, she's curious as to what I was doing earlier and why I was screaming her name, and, second, as to why should I be embarrassed to her about doing such thing as she was already my wife. At those two I could say both, but the first one might be the reason why she stares at me questioningly and confused. She might not get as to how I can explain things to her without having an awkward conversation or moment with her, just starting as to why I am half naked in our room screaming her name. And maybe you should already get de-dress, she stammers. I know she's trying so hard making eye contact to me and not to look down at where she saw my private area earlier. I should have chuckled right now because I find it really cute on how she stutters, but now I didn't. How could I laugh out an awkward scene that just happened which I couldn't think of a thing on how to explain? So I just nodded at her in response and walked to the bathroom, leaving her there still shocked. I walked to the shower and let the hot water fall down onto my body while my mind seems to be thinking about something else. Back in high school, everybody knows that me and Charlotte are buddies. We never got engaged to any trouble, especially sexual ones. Me and her are known for being the saint of the school, and as much as we like the title, we also hate it. Others think that we really are not saint. That's why not all people likes us, but everyone knows we don't know anything when it comes to trouble. And high school is being known as an asylum for hormonal teenage students. We as being friends have never learned as to what really sex is. We never know things or words that are associated with sex, like orgasm, pussy, cock, blowjob. But I don't know if Charlotte had gotten the chance to know them or even ask about them. I sure did monitor her everyday life on the past years, but that doesn't mean her every move she does is also recorded. And me, I've already learned those things from my one and only best friend, Henry. As much as I hate to admit it, but it's the truth, Henry's the one who turned my innocent mind into a more nasty one. After I was already adopted, I met Henry and we got in good terms, and back then he would always talk to me that he got laid every night, and he explains how he do it, but me, I don't understand a single thing. So I always ask him as to what words he says, and that's where he start to my so-called sex educator. He lets me watch porns but never read one. He always makes me try to get laid, but I always refuse. He taught me things that I should learn and things I should do and don't. The way he taught me made my head shake up because everything is new to me. And I don't want to blow up Charlotte's mind. I don't want her to think of what I did as disgusting, nor to frighten her by my actions. What I want to do is tell her things smoothly, no awkward things, no weird views on this thing, and no dirty thoughts. But how could I tell things on her without corrupting her mind? I finished showering with a lot of jumbled conflicted thoughts in my mind. As I look over to the bed, I saw Charlotte already sleeping facing the other side of the bed. I walk over her and put the blanket over her small fragile body. I thought it would be the best to talk to her tomorrow so I could still think of what I should do. I kissed her forehead and went off to sleep, snuggling closer to her. Ugh, I groaned, rolling over the bed, feeling the other side empty. Didn't he sleep here? Ugh. What a dream. Why in all people should Edward be in my dream? The billionaire has nothing to do with my life, except now that he's my husband, but still, why him? Because you like him. Shutted brain, of course I don't. Yes you do, my subconscious said sarcastically. No, I don't. You can't lie to me, I'm a part of you, remember? Ugh, I said, ruffling my hair from frustration. Then suddenly the bathroom door opens, revealing a newly bathed Edward, showing his beautiful features. Shiny hair, strong jaw, well-defined muscles, six-pack abs, and down there is. No, I should stop, it won't end good thinking too much. Maybe I really do like him. You're awake. I thought we could talk now since you were already asleep when I saw you yesterday, he said with a more light mood, but I could tell he's nervous by the way he trembles holding another towel in his hand. The way he said about how we should talk, I don't know what to think of, since yesterday is really almost a disaster, starting from me punching and kicking a complete stranger. I should have really acted a way too normal when I saw his thing, but who would not, right? I mean, it's not every day you see a man's thing. I'm sorry about yesterday, he said without looking at me in the eye but at his cup of coffee. I didn't said anything. I don't know what he wants to be sorry with, and what I want to know is why did he shout my name while doing the... I don't really know what it is. I want some proper explanation from him. Call me anything or what, but I don't really know what it was. I just don't think things properly before doing it. I know that maybe you think that I'm a disgusting maniac, but I promise, I'm sorry, I just stare at him dumbfounded. Why would he call himself a maniac and disgusting? How could you say you're disgusting? The way I shouted your name yesterday, and for seeing something you shouldn't have. It's not your fault that I saw it, and why were you shouting my name, by the way? I asked, thinking that I could at least get a clue on why. You don't know, he asked, surprised. I just stare, thinking. How could I know? No one taught me. Even if I don't know what he was doing yesterday, I still knew his private part, and everyone learned it from school, right? But why was he doing it anyway? Do I have to do the same? Based on his reaction, he thinks that I should know those kind of things. Maybe he could teach me? Yes, I studied human anatomy, but I just don't know what's the purpose of doing such thing. If it won't anger you, can I ask what you were doing, exactly doing? He didn't reply for a while, like thinking about something. But he looked at me and spoke. I guess you shouldn't have to know it. But why? I asked sadly. I don't want to corrupt your mind. After saying those, Edward left me in the room hurriedly, like he's avoiding something from me. I know it's just been a week, but I feel like I care about what he thinks about me and what he feels. Hector's POV. What do you want me to do? Tell her that I want to sleep with her already, but I'm just resisting myself, I said frustratedly, ruffling my hair. That's not, I mean what? What I want you to do is to tell it to her in a good explanation without scaring her and making her run away, Henry added. What sir means is you should tell her, or ma'am will suspect and might end up knowing it in a bad way, master, Cardivios added too. I guess they're right, I'm just starting on making my move on her and I don't want to ruin it, I'll do everything just to have her forever. Edward's POV. I've already thought of what to do to Charlotte from what Henry and Cardivios told me. I guess they're right about it, and I just need to give her a piece of my mind about the thing. And I guess a dinner would be great to talk about it. Dinner time. It's just me and her here in the long table of the main dining hall waiting for the food to be served. The silence that was making me agitated and nervous of talking to her. I just watch her in the other end of the table, staring out of nowhere, thinking of something. That I guess maybe about our talk early this morning. And me, I'm also minding my own business in silence on how I should tell her what I did, or how would it end up telling her. The silence was just cut when we heard footsteps coming our way. Maids placed the foods on the table with clatters, AMD left without a single word coming from any of us. We began eating, but the silence was still there and still Charlotte was still zoning out. Ahem, I cleared my throat, getting her attention. So. About earlier, I just wanted to explain it to you now. But she just stared at me, waiting for me to continue. I'm sorry for leaving you hanging, it's just I can't say the right words, so I left, and I just want you to know that I'm not angry about you. But, are you angry at me? The question made me hanging for seconds because she didn't reply at first and somewhat hesitant about something. The anxiety of waiting for her answer is too unbearable. What if she's angry? Would she run away? What if she rejects my apology? What if there's more I can expect? Literally, he was paranoid over an answer of a girl. Where at some point he just relaxes in front of elite persons who can bring his company in the ground, while here he was waiting for a single word of rejection or acceptance. There's nothing to be sorry about, you know. I understand if there's something that stops you from doing so. In fact, I'm not going to push more further about that topic. I sighed heavily, knowing that she's not angry. Then why are you spacing out? If you're not thinking about earlier, could I know what it is then? Well, for the last days of staying in this mansion, I'm figuring out if I could go out and maybe pay some of my friends a visit. You should have told me earlier so I can let the maids help you for preparing and let the driver know. When would you like to go out? I see. I thought I'm just going to bother you for saying not important things. No, it's not a bother at all, I said, nodding my head. Okay, well, thank you, she said back. I just stared at her, thinking that she's still awkward about what happened. Could we talk later after you get home? I asked her in a soft voice. About what? She asked. Looks like she doesn't. About what happened yesterday. If it's not going to be awkward to her, and to me it is, so I need to explain what I did yesterday so I wouldn't feel guilty. I'll tell you later. Okay, she smiled, and it's like she's really oblivious, acting normal now. The next day. Charlotte's POV. I don't actually have friends, I lied, because I just want to get out of the place and forget about what happened yesterday and forget my dream. I'm not a lewd person. I just don't know why I had that dream. I don't want Edward to know about it. How she kisses my neck, hold every inch of my body and make me moan so loudly. I blushed at the thought of it and remembering the deed Edward did yesterday. I looked behind me, and sure enough, there was Cardivios, who escorted me here, is standing beside the car looking directly at me. Edward thought that he couldn't leave me alone, and he needs someone he trusts to watch over me. At the very least is not overprotective, sending bodyguards. Feeling bad that Cardivios was just standing there, I called him and he immediately strides towards me. I prompted him to sit beside me in the bench. He declined but complied in the end. We sat there in silence for a while, taking in the view in front of us. The park is with less people, some are busy with their own world. The rays of the sun seeping through the green grasses and making the mist on them shine like crystals. And the calming sound of tweeting birds from afar. You should really go out here with Master sometimes, Cardivios explained out of nowhere, still staring at the scenery. We actually came here but just once, I said. And I also met Alfred here after a long time too, I thought. I'm afraid to say this, but Master may seem a bit different for you, madam. Yup, he actually is, from the day we met. It's just that he's not a showy person and tends to be quiet. He can be upfront too, but not when he thinks too much, and you may notice that he's a good guy. I just hope that he doesn't scare you away. He is a nice person. He's also a bit weird, I agree, but doesn't he seem just too relaxed? I asked Cardivios, looking at him. He may look like it, but Master holds a lot of problems in his everyday life. He's a busy person who thinks about a lot of things, it just doesn't show in his face, he answered, looking at me too. I just assumed that he was, because he's not overprotective. I mean, he didn't bring a bodyguard along with us while the house is flocking of tens of them. I chuckled at the irony. Well, you don't actually need a bodyguard because I'm already here. Cardivios smiled at me, amused. What do you mean? I asked, raising an eyebrow. I'm good at guarding people. Being a butler comes in different tasks assigned, and being a butler of an elite, I need to be good at every vulnerable situation. You mean you can fight? I asked, shocked. Yes, madam, can I not? Because I'm a butler, I can only be good at house chores, he chuckled. We talked a lot more stuff about him and we shared things about each other. Chapter 11. Edward's POV. I'm worried not because she's not with me, but what I would say to her later. I'm in a meeting right now and all I could think of is her. I wish she's right beside now and just her presence can calm me. Terre. Mr. Soltaire, the guy doing the presentation, called me. Yes, I asked in a deep gruff voice. Have already checked, he asked. Yes, I did, flipping through the folder in front of me like I really was giving a care. Well, I could just checked it later. Meeting adjourned. The meeting was finally over and there I just watched them get out of the conference room while I sit there thinking about her. I thought of the dream I had last night. I was sleeping her hard and left hickeys on her porcelain skin while moaning so loudly. It's a sin thinking of sleeping with her right now while I still didn't repent from what I did to her. I just stained her innocent mind, and that was because of my carelessness. I wanted to go home and lay in the bed with her all day, but I can't because I've got a pile of papers in my office that needs to be checked. I lay there in the room swinging the swivel chair while I think of ways to make it up to her. A lot of things came up not as good as I want them to be. And then an idea popped in my mind which she would definitely like. Chapter 12. Charlotte's POV. I was sitting at the park the whole day talking to Cardivios about stuff about the mansion and mainly Edward. It was a fun conversation and I wouldn't want to end it because I want to hear more. Cardivios left me here all alone thinking about what he said. Why don't you try opening up with him and maybe try falling in love? It sounds odd, not that I hate the idea, but it feels like Cardivios is trying to be our matchmaker and it made me chuckle for a bit. I think it is good to open up, but falling in love is another question. It's not easy and not a thing I would want to feel again. I relaxed my back in the bench sighing for I don't know how many. I looked at the sun and it's all up in the sky, getting hotter by the time. I started getting up to where the car was and there was Cardivios sitting inside the driver's seat looking at me with a faint smile. And I smiled back in response, but it faded away when a buff-looking guy blocks my way and my view from Cardivios. He was scary looking. He has a long beard and bulging muscles from his black outfit. He was wearing sunglasses, but I know that he was looking at me as I was looking up at him with confusion. I stepped sideways and maybe walked past his side, but GE also did the same, and this time 3 more men came at us, and then I heard a gunshot from behind the guy in front of me. Then he stumbled and kneeled in front of me holding his bloody arm. There I saw Cardivios holding a gun and aiming at the other 3 men while ducking at the same time. I just stood there dumbfounded, processing what was happening in front of me. Everything was in slow motion, the men running everywhere throwing gunshots at Cardivios while Cardivios hides at the car. I blinked when I heard a grunt, and the buff guy in front of me who was shot started standing up, and in my instinct I stepped back a little and then started sprinting at the opposite direction of the car. I run and run even though I know no one's following or chasing me. I ran away from the park and past the Suburbans to ask for help, but I couldn't let my mind process properly to even do it. I was running like crazy, and then there I saw an alley to hide behind the dumpster and wait until I know it was safe. I can still the gunshots even from afar, and I was hoping that Cardivios was all right and unharmed. The least I can hope is him not to die from pointing guns with the 3 men who looks buff. It would be great if anyone would call the police if they also hear the gunshots. My heart was pounding and so was my head. I can't think of anything else but to call Edward, but I don't have a cell phone or so his number. I feel so dumb right now in this situation, should at least know his home number, but I also don't. I wanted to cry, but the panic was more consuming that I started to work my brain and make a plan. I don't know what is happening, but I know that those guys want me. The way the buff bearded guy stood in front of me, I knew that he wanted to grab me the moment he blocked my way when I was trying to walk past him. I wanted to go out the dumpster to check outside and maybe run further to ask for help this time. Just as I stepped outside the alley there I was greeted by a familiar face and a handkerchief placed in my mouth and nose, trying my best to scratch the hand of this person to get away from his grasp. And then I couldn't hold my breath anymore and I succumbed into darkness. This is the end of this story. For more story like this, subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell. And don't forget to like this video, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this story.